Hey y'all, the trunk. That's what I call it. I got 3 different plantings of tomatoes this year, and some of y'all know Jordan and I took a break Saturday afternoon, something I don't normally do. And on the way back from the little pond fishing trip, had a squall line roll in tonight. Didn't hardly get any rain out of it, but boy, it worked havoc on some of that corn and these big old tomato plants. So I had them staked, but it just couldn't hold. So I'm getting ahead of it with these next planting I've got going on here. I think I've got probably some of the most expensive stakes in Nacogdoches if you did it by wood cost. I, of course, have access to some there at the store, what little is left. It's kind of hard to find tomato cages and stakes right now anywhere, but there's a cabinet shop up the road here. Found it last year, and I'm a big believer in waste not, want not. But these are trimmings off of the cabinetry that they make down there, all custom cabinetry. So it's high dollar wood, but it was just on an old scrap pile, but it sure makes a good tomato trunk. I didn't have this problem last year with these tomatoes. Problem being loaded down, so much so they can't even support the weight of them. So I don't know why I'm surprised. Prayed over this old field early on when all this mess hit, hoping I'd make enough crop to share everywhere. And now I'm acting surprised at these things that we started from seed. It reminded me of the old Bible story of old boys fishing and hadn't caught nothing all night, and he said, cast on the other side of the boat, and they just ain't no use. We ain't gonna catch nothing. Had so much stuff in their nets it broke them. So that's kind of where I'm at. I have yet to pick the first red one, but all indications it ought to be a pretty good crop. And this is just the first wave. I've got 2 more waves of 50 right behind it. The pintos are striped. For y'all that have grown them before, that means it's time to pick. So let me see if I can show you. I could probably use another day out here in the field. You're not going to be able to see it with a silly camera. Anyway, they stripe up on the side when they're ready to pick. And I'm excited about having what I can remember, my first good bowl of fresh pinto beans. We'll be getting this tilled up pretty quick. Don't know if we're going to get any rain this week or not. The little storm's goofing off down there. I hope everybody stays safe from any destruction, but if it wants to dump a little rain, we can take it. We'll get them pintos picked and pulled, and I've got a wave of pepper plants I may put behind it if we're moist enough, but we'll see. No, it was a good day Saturday afternoon. These weeds are about to make me go crazy in this garden, and I got back home from fishing with the afternoon with my son, and I noticed the weeds are still here. They didn't hurt anything. Right? So I'll get to them soon enough, and they'll wait. I don't know, some of y'all may date myself here, but I got something in the mail. I think it was Friday. Some little old giveaway or something. I throw them away, but I was speed reading it, and it was fill this form out, send it in. Need not be present to win. And a few minutes later, Jordan asked me about going fishing, and sounded good, but I got to thinking about all the work I needed to get done on an afternoon off, and yeah, about that long is all I thought about it. And I said, yes, sir, we'll get going. The more I thought about it that Friday evening ahead of that trip, growing up and of a certain age, they may still do it. I'm just out of the loop, thank goodness. But them old timeshares, y'all remember those? You'd go get a free steak knife or something and have to sit through a presentation, and they might even give away a car or something big. But in those times, you had to be present to win. If they called your name and you wasn't there, well, they moved on to somebody else. I guess nowadays all they want's an email, but back then, they wanted your attention for their presentation. Reminded me of that old fishing trip with Jordan. I don't guess it was anything spectacular by standards go, but we got out in an old boat that I hadn't been in 20 years, didn't know it existed still, with an old paddle that my uncle made because he was dead set against buying one. Of course, he could, like I said, could have bought the shop out. He crafted his own. And we paddled around that little old pond, and about every cast, Jordan was pulling in a little old bass. just having a blast. And a little good conversation, and just hot. Has a good sun-kissed until mine spilled in the bottom of the boat and the bass started drinking it. He got tickled. But really thought about that. I had to be present to win that memory. I don't think I'd have wanted sitting here worrying about these weeds, would I? Maybe we need to look at that a little more and be present. That's the way we win those moments, isn't it? Got the goat cage a little different. I've got a battle back there. They all got to stay dry, and them turkeys are getting way too big for the little old coop. So we're doing some replanting. And I hated to cut into that old shed, but it had to be done. And now I've got some old gate panels that make a run down there. And looks pretty good. I learned a little old battle or a lesson in perception at the store the other evening. I mean, it hit me like a ton of bricks. Me and the old team that was there, we got talking about it. We all shook our heads like, man, I think we all learned something. Have a customer that's been coming to us for a while. He's an older man. He stooped over, got some type of back condition. Can't hardly walk. He's probably in his 70s. And can't really hardly talk, but the best personality, always got a smile on his face. And he'd come in. Now here's the deal. You got to know the whole thing about it. And I learned it quick. He'd been coming there before I was there. He buys a bag of goat pellets for his goats. I think he's got some chickens. And we load these folks' feed. That's what we do. They back up to the dock and we load it for them. But he doesn't want that to happen. And of all the people that needs his feed loaded, you'd think it'd be him because he can't hardly walk. But I'm telling you what, I made a mistake when I first started there trying to load it, trying to help him. And I mean, I got me an earful from that rascal. Do not load my feed. I want to do it myself. You just set it on the dock and I'll put it in my truck. So that's been the standing rule. Well, we got into a little longer conversation this time. And we've got some baby chickens there at the store, which is kind of a rarity. And he wanted some of them. And so he was trying to figure out how many he could afford and all that. And Sylvia and I was winking at each other because he wanted more than he had money for. But he'll never know the wiser. I know he's not on Facebook. None of y'all probably even know him. But he went, I'll put it this way, he went home with as many chickens as he wanted and thought he afforded them. So we'll leave it at that. That bears credence to the rest of the story. So we're loading him up on the dock. That old train had everybody stop. And it's, nothing to do but look over there at the feed store. And I was down there with him, helping him get his chickens situated in the back of the truck. And then it hit me. I had backed up because I wasn't going to load his feed. I didn't want a tongue lashing. He wasn't going to let me do it anyway. So I look and I'm like, well, wait a minute. This doesn't look good at all. Here I am, young man, standing here against the dock, watching this older man that can't even hardly move load a 50-pound bag of feed. And the whole world stopped and watching me. If somebody had taken a picture and twisted that, how horrible would that have looked? Right? I knew the truth. My crew knew the truth, and the man knew the truth. We were just doing what we always do. But a picture wouldn't have told that story. Especially in these times. That'd have got legs right there, y'all. But I went back and talked to the young men that worked for me. I think they learned a lesson, too, about not believing everything that you see at face value. There's a lot more behind that camera lens, maybe, than what we think is going on. Right? But I'm hoping his chickens are doing good. I know he'll take care of them. He's a stickler like that. But you learn stuff if you look around and watch. It's like that old boy that was traveling the countryside. He come up on a ranch, didn't know the history of it. It was two brothers side by side. That's pretty. That had been farming together all their life, had two big old pretty pieces of land butt up against each other. They shared equipment, shared meals together. Their kids had grown up together. But one day there was a little squabble. Squabble that turned into a pretty good little argument. It turned into a standoff, and they hadn't talked for years. One day the younger brother tore down the levee and built a creek in between the two places. And I mean, it made his older brother mad as spitting hornets. That rocked on until this man knocked on that man's door that day. He said, "Sir, I'm a traveling carpenter. I'd like to get any odd jobs you got for me." He said, "You know, as a matter of fact, I'm glad you came by. You see that creek down there? That borders my brother's land, and I'm tired of looking at it. I want you to build me an 8-foot tall fence from property line to property line, but I don't want to see it." So he went to town, got all the materials, and the farmer dropped him off. And he said, "I got to run to town, get some more things. You get to work on this, and I'll pay you a good wage." So the day progressed, and that old carpenter worked and worked and worked. And, man, he did a fine job at building that project. Rancher pulled up in his old truck coming back from town, slammed on his brakes, jumped out, hollered, and said, "What have you done?" Carpenter said, "Sir, I completed a good work there." He said, "That's a bridge. That's not a fence. I want a fence." So as they're arguing about it, the older farmer looked down there, and here comes his younger brother walking across that bridge with a smile on his face and his hand outstretched. And before the older brother could explain that that was not what he intended, the younger brother ran up and said, "Thank you for showing me wisdom, brother. Of all the things I've done to you, you took the time to build me a bridge." Brothers talked probably an hour. About that time, they turned around to thank the old man. He was gone. As he was leaving that driveway, they were running after him. Younger brother said, come back, I've got work for you." He said, "No, sir, I've got to be on my way. There's other bridges I need to build." That's something. How many of us are building fences over bridges? Well, I've been guilty of it. Maybe I need to work on my bridge building skills. What about y'all? Yeah. Got another week ahead. Who knows what it holds in this crazy year. Remember, can't go without saying it. We remember 75th anniversary yesterday, I believe, or 76. Anyway, June 6, 1944, D-Day. A lot of brave young men and women. A lot of men storming that beach in Normandy on that dreadful day, but we had to get it done. So we remember that, don't we? Bunch of turkeys. Y'all want to see them? Look at them. See them cock their head, ain't that something? They're getting huge, y'all. They flip around. I'll show you what I cut out. We'll go. Look at that. They got a little access point into their little house now. I am going to make use of that old lumber and put a post about halfway and redo it a little bit. But we got to keep them. They're about to get their wings clipped because I'm trying. My whole goal is to keep the goats over here where they can eat in peace without these turkeys mobbing their food bowl, and vice versa. JoJo, you had about enough of these turkeys, hadn't you, babe? They were over here hollering something off a while ago. Won't be long, they'll be strutting with full tail feathers and gobbling and all of that. I guess it won't be long after that, we'll be gobbling them. No, these are mainly going to be my breeding stock for next year. But we'll see how that goes. Dogs are good, goats are good, chickens are good. We still got some babies running around. And they own the place, I guess. Run a little long this evening, but just wanted to share those thoughts with you. I see you creeping up on me there, girl. Yeah. Hey, if y'all saw that hay bale garden, I'll check off with this real quick. We'll do a quick roll call. Started a new one up there at the store. Just trying to share it with the public on how to do it because it's such a space saver for those in town. And doesn't take much up of your yard at all. By the time it composts, it may kill that grass for a minute, but it'll come right back. I'm going to try to shore that one at the store up a little better. But take heart, this is East Texas Heat, and you can see that these things, this is the project of a few months ago. You can see these old peppers are loaded down and doing quite nicely. That's going into a pepper sauce for too long. I was just playing around with this stuff. This is a giant Maricona. I never had it. I don't even know how to cook it. That's a sweet pepper. But y'all look at this tomato plant. The only dirt it's got is what I put in what it came in the little pot. And it's not quite as vibrant as those other ones in the garden, but you can see it's loaded with tomatoes. I think at the store I'm going to try some squash out the sides. They say you can do that, but we'll see. But if y'all want to know how to do this, it's pretty easy to do. Just jump over to that Lone Star page. I think I shared it on here, kind of a how-to, how to get it done. That'll give you some fresh tomatoes in the yard anyway, right? Let's do the roll call in the corn patch. I might come up on a rabbit or two. We're going to be picking corn toward the end of the week, I believe, too. I think I got a couple of stalks 9 foot tall. I guess I didn't know any better. Been driving around and seeing some other folks' corn. And I'm like, what happened to their corn? I forgot. Lord's blessing me here. Boy, this cornflower smells so loud. Man, it smells good. I hadn't been no bees, but man, that corn is something else, y'all. Let me do a roll call. I'm pretty proud of this. I got to quit looking at it. Let's see. Oh, that's right. I got the news. Of course, my oldest son's expecting their second child, be my second grandchild. First one, little Isabella Rose. Boy, she's precious. Girls always are, but looks like, Lord willing, and things go healthy and as they should, we got a little boy on the way up in that Illinois household with my son and Felicia. So I know he's stoked about it, and I'm happy. And that's a good thing, right? Had to share that. We just found out the gender thing yesterday or the day before, something like that. Anyway, now I can't even get through this corn patch. Y'all holler at me if any children start coming up behind me. That's another thing. There's Alicia. Yeah, I did get my ears lowered, didn't I? Sure did. Needed that. Got my COVID haircut. Let's see. Going through here. Sue's checking in. There's Michelle saying good evening. Constance, how are you? Andrew, pleased to catch you live. Have blessed. Thank you, Andrew. Up in, I guess out in Interlaken, Florida. There's Joanne. I appreciate that. Yeah, I don't think we all did. I read that story again the other day. I'd heard it many times, and man, building bridges. Hey, Keisha, how are you? I hope you want some corn, because there's going to be tons of it at the corporate office pretty soon. I did the math. It's 2,000 ears, any way you count it. And as my mama used to say when she'd come back from a fishing trip with her mama, and somebody asked her how many they'd catch, all they'd say was, more than I could eat. So corn, more than I can eat. That's about how much I'm going to have. Bella saying howdy. Hey, sweetheart, up in Illinois, my little grandbaby. Aggie's in Allen, Texas. Yep, baby boy, that's right. Thank you, Patricia. All right, I'm going to let it go with that for the evening. Hope y'all get some rest ahead of another good, productive week. And those close here to Nacogdoches that I've kind of put the word out, told you to be watching these things. We'll be picking a little corn this week if y'all want to stop by and get some. And I might be a little stingy on these pintos first round. No, y'all know better than that. Again, I'll have plenty. But man, when these tomatoes hit, Jordan's going to have a job keeping up with them. Been watching them old birds. I may get pecked out of it, may not get a tomato one. But if it ends right now and they all fall down, I think I'm proud as punch that them little old bitty baby seeds that I babied them things. And now they're as tall as I am. That's something else. Well, y'all have a good evening. Be the light. Them goats are about to bellow their head off. I need to go give them a little feed. And try to build a bridge or two this week. And remember, things ain't always what they seem. We can do better, can't we? Yeah. Good night. Y'all be the light.